Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome. Hopefully, everything is working. I think it is. We're going to have a very exciting and fun office hours today. We've got Nick denBoer, and I haven't even asked you if that's how you pronounce your last name.
Yeah, denBoer. Like a
denBoer.
ooh.
Oh, God. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But more importantly, Smearballs from Instagram, who's going to be walking us through his perfect loop idea and kind of setup that he's working for the animation challenge. And then we're going to dive into some Houdini. We're going to take a look at some maybe character creator or talk about character creator. And yeah, just kind of get into the whole workflow you got going on, which is
Awesome.
awesome. I've already sampled it. Um,
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
so we'll
excited.
just. Oh, sorry, go for it.
No, I'm just excited to do this loop. I was kind of, I've done a ton of these types of loops before with a bunch of characters, and the last one I did had like whatever 10 or 20, and and most of them were with the Rokoko suit. So I'm kind of going into that world again, like jamming as many characters as I can into one continuous animation.
Yeah,
So
where did the loop? Were you always like? Did you? Was that an intentional thing with like the loops? I mean, loops are always cool. I feel like so.
yeah, I don't know. It's probably just the whole like the presentation of NFTs and that kind of marketplace that was lending itself to loops because it's I don't know when you think about digital art and something hanging on a wall. If you do
Yeah,
something cinematic with a beginning and an end, like someone can just look at it and be like, okay, I'm done and leave. But if you have something that loops with, like, I just like doing stuff with tons of detail that you can actually stand and watch 15 loops of it and still not see it all, you know? So that's kind of the point of doing these and packing in a ton of things so that people can, after the 10th time, they still notice something that,
yeah.
snuck by them.
Well, that's kind of like a fun personal challenge too. It's like how much detail can I pack into this scene? Like down to I was
Well,
looking at a couple of the loops that you've already done, and like I hadn't noticed the graffiti on the wall, and like
oh, yeah.
then you start looking at that. It's like oh, there's very clearly there's like little messages and like lots, and then yeah, I was like the one of with the fan in the center,
Yeah,
like with
yeah.
that's rotating. Um,
I have that here.
like
I can.
the yeah, let's pull it up. I can pull it up too.
Um,
But I didn't notice the guys who had their hands in each other's laps and that
oh,
they were
yeah.
holding joysticks.
You're just playing video games.
They're just
Yeah.
playing video games.
Oh, whoa. Sorry, I gotta mute that. Whoa.
Nice.
That's a little intense. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a
And
lot
so
going on.
everyone also we're gonna repost this in higher res, so it might be a little bit low res right now, but don't worry about it. It's we're gonna be reposting in 4K. Yeah, yeah, like the fuck cops and all that little stuff, and like I didn't really even look at the photos, and
Yeah, there's
yeah,
a lot. That's the kind of detail that's like, like I'm running into, like I started on the 13th of the start day for this contest, and I'm like, damn, I just spent like 2 days just, on these kind of details that maybe people won't notice. And I'm like, I gotta get on the character stuff because I only have a couple characters done. So I'm like doing the shift from environment details to characters now because you can get lost in the weeds
yeah.
making, all these textures and all this stuff, like
Mostly, yeah, that's just a shift
tattoos,
from like the date is coming. Like okay, hold
yeah.
on. I've got beautiful rocks on the ground, but I don't have a single character in here, and
Yeah,
I need to
exactly.
yeah.
But I can kind of show where I'm at with it so
Yeah,
far.
actually, I'm gonna do another little intro because a couple people have come in,
Okay, yeah,
um,
sure.
and yeah. So for those of you who've just joined, we're here with Smearballs of Instagram and NFT fame, who makes super interesting loops and just crazy kind of awesome character shit. He's now working with some really interesting like MIDI controller style things, and kind of has a little bit of a wizard and has his hands and a lot of fingers and a lot of pots. I don't know. And so what we're going to be looking at today is his process for the Perfect Loop Animation Challenge, which is our animation challenge. It's happening right now. It goes until June 13th, so there's still plenty of time to join. We have a ton of awesome prizes. We have two categories: best render and best original concept. Each have first, second, and third prizes, total of 23K in prizes. So it's awesome. We encourage you to join. You can find links to our Discord in the description below, as well as links to the animation challenge sign up page. And yeah, so today we're just going to be going through Smearballs' workflow, and I'm going to be peppering him with questions the whole time, and it should be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and if
Sorry
you
for
don't
the second
have a suit,
intro.
oh yeah, and if you don't have a suit and want to join the contest, there's a library of stuff you can use, right? Like of other people's.
Yes. Yeah. So that's a question we get a lot. Is like, oh, do I need a? So the prize that I'm competing for is a suit, and I need a suit to compete for that prize? And thankfully, no, you don't. We have the Motion Library, which you can find information on where to find a bunch of free Rokoko mocap assets on the sign up page. But we have the Motion Library, which is our motion capture marketplace, where you can find a bunch of free assets, or you can buy assets. There's a couple thousand assets on there. And then we also, normally we record mocap during these office hours, and we've recorded about 150 assets so far, and so those you can use as well, link to which is in the description below. So you can definitely participate for free, which is a big, that's like, I think it would be that what we want is to get people engaged with like our tools, right? And so if you don't have the tools, you now have to pay to like enter this contest. That sucks. You don't have to do that, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's great. But yeah, I can get.
Yeah, let's dive into it though. Let's do it. And so yeah, we're not recording mocap. We might do another stream tomorrow recording mocap, but today we're just looking at.
I recorded a bunch this morning too that I can make available. If,
that would be awesome. That would be super cool.
Here. So yeah, my screen working here?
Yeah, I can see everything.
I'll show it in Cinema first. So I built this. The concept for this loop is.
First of all, first thing is like, I like your layout. And that's the way I always look at it, Cinema layouts. Interesting.
Oh yeah?
Okay, you got the materials on the right. Okay, I like it. Sorry.
Yeah, well that kind of changed up in S or R or S, whatever, 25. They moved everything around, and it was like a brain breaker, because like everything wasn't the same, and even like all your tools are in weird spots now, and
so do you change up right when a new version comes out?
No, I took a long time on
S23.
Yeah, S25, I guess. Okay. I was an R21 forever guy, because I bought the perpetual, and I was like, screw this, subscription crap. Yeah. So yeah, it took me a long time to get out of R21, and then I finally, had to take the plunge because a bunch of cool stuff came out. And then, now I jumped into, I was having all these Octane problems in R24, so I was like, it was driving me crazy, crashes and weird stuff. And then I upped to 25, and everything went away and worked. So I was like, all right, I'm rolling with this.
And it's working in 26.
Yeah, everything's working great so far. Except for net rendering. I can't get network rendering to work in 26 for some reason. I don't know. There's always something.
It's always something.
But anyway, so I built this repeatable section of construction site. So basically, I think I have I'm not done fully repeating it yet, but I have a couple of, where are they? Like, yeah, part of it repeats on the right as a cloner and on the left. So when I go into my camera, it's all measured, so when I'm at the beginning and at the end, it's all lined up perfectly.
So do you do like the base, like how do you start like when it's a revolving loop and it's in like a room, like that fan one, right? That's just, that's one room. But for this, so are you like it's like 700 centimeters or whatever, and then the cloner is moving.
Well, this one, see this little tag here? It's 1,463.4287 centimeters. That's my unit for like the entire width of the scene. So I have one cloner at negative 1,463 and one at positive. So then, as I'm making things, I'm dumping things into either the left or the right cloner folder,
right,
or null, so that they repeat. So But yeah, so I actually measured it. It's all like 16-inch centers, like real construction. So that's why it's a weird number and not an even number. I was going like I actually worked in construction for like 10 years before I
Oh
went full
shit.
time into the video world.
So you
So
can't
this
turn
is
that
this is,
off. Yeah,
this
it's
is
like this is let's do it right.
can't turn it off. So I've got details like right down to the wire
Oh my
staples
God,
and
you
stuff
do.
in here.
That's
Yeah, all these
fantastic.
wires. You got some 14.2, some 12.2. I've got it all wired up with like electrical boxes I got from GrabCAD, and they're all
Wow.
like pretty awesome. I even have joist hangers here on the.
Holy, that I mean, but that's like what you were
But I
saying
haven't put the
earlier.
nails in yet. I still have to put nails in. Oh no, I do have nails in the joist hangers. Yeah, they just have the wrong texture on them.
That's crazy. I mean, that detail it all adds up though, right? I mean, all that stuff is
Oh
like
yeah, yeah, sure.
if you don't notice it, even it's just your eye is trained to look for detail. I feel like having
But
extreme
mind you,
detail.
it is a fairly low poly scene. Like all the 2x10s and everything are, it's not very heavy yet.
There's six
But
polygons.
I have to, yeah. But I have to leave room for all these characters that are coming in.
Right.
So I have all these like. Well, actually, I'll jump into After Effects and play the loop what I have so far.
Hey everyone.
This guy's
Hey
getting electrocuted.
Dickens Styles, Talier. Good to see you. Oh shit. Okay. Yeah. So this is a little pre-render.
Yeah, this guy's falling through. I just have 3 characters done so far. So I'm going to add somebody in the wheelbarrow getting thrown down the basement stairs and other people working, like hammering and sawing and hanging drywall and whatever else. So there's room for a lot of characters in here. So I'm going to do as many as I can before the 13th, and then
And then send it.
yeah, hopefully I get over 15 or 20. I don't know. I don't really have a goal yet. It's just kind of a time constraint
Yeah.
thing.
So okay, so
So
the render, like, do you just do some clever masking in After Effects to complete the loop or whatever?
no,
It'll
it'll actually.
actually.
I'm going to clone everything and move it from, one side, like either to the left or the right if it's needed. Like the whole electrician dude will have to be plunked into the end,
Right.
and that other little room. But then anything beyond that, you do get some lighting differences. So sometimes I will do a render pass where I move the whole camera over, and
Oh
then
yeah.
I have the overlap of the actual other section, and then yeah, you can do some blending
Yeah.
and stuff like hair doesn't loop. But luckily, I think I can get away with this hair not looping because he's moving so erratically
Yeah.
that I think I can just jump cut it, and it'll be all
Well,
right.
there's
But
so
we'll
much
see.
change in the hair frame to frame that it just feels like the things
Yeah,
like that. I feel like you can always kind of just get away with. It doesn't really matter. Yeah.
totally. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, it's gonna be a fun little project, and I have to still do a big pass of just adding junk and little, like these beer cans I just started putting around. I'm
Yeah.
gonna fill it with trash and you know alcohol bottles and
And
whatever
was there?
else.
And so you just add as you go. There's like, was there a version of this that you made with like the C4D figures in all the places where you're gonna put people? No,
No,
no, no.
I'm no planning
Man
guy.
after my
I
own
hate
heart.
that.
That's
Well, this is it. It's like my whole theory and workflow in general is if something's not working, throw it away and do something that's working, because you can get caught up with, an idea that you had in the storyboard that you have to do because it was in the storyboard, and it's like, oh, that's going to add an extra 2 days to your workflow. Screw it. Get rid of it. Do something else that works and is faster and is not giving you problems. So I like to be fluid and add things as I go. And honestly, you get ideas. Like now that this guy fell on the ground and is laying there, I thought it'd be funny if something else happened to him afterwards. I don't know. You just
right.
get these ideas after while you're working, and I genuinely, I'm of the mind that all this software was kind of created or made to be creative in while you're doing it. And if you try and plan it all on pen and paper before, it's just kind of
Right.
counterintuitive.
Well, that's the advantage now, right? I think like 20 years ago it was like, well, this is going to take 3 months for me to catch that dude falling out of
Oh
the
yeah.
ceiling. So let's make sure we get it right. And now you can. You just go back into Houdini, right? You change it up or whatever.
Yeah. Do something
One
else.
question, I
So yeah,
did
these
have that I wanted to ask you before we hopped on the stream, but are the hard hats and the and like the wooden planks, are those at C4D rigid bodies, or are you doing that in Houdini too?
Yeah. I do that in C4D just because then I can just
Yes.
easily art direct it after. And those are super simple. objects,
no.
you know, so I can just
That
mess
all
with them.
makes sense. That makes me happy
But
because I was like,
now there's a new feature in Vellum. I think it's like a shape. What's it called again? Let me look here. Uh, oh wait, it's in the constraints menu. But there's a new way to do. Yeah, it's the bottom one here. Shape match, where you can do relatively rigid bodies in Vellum. So it's like you put a Vellum constraint on something and make it super stiff, and then it can interact with your soft body stuff really easily. So you're not mixing rigid bodies and soft bodies in Houdini, which can be more difficult. So it's kind of a cool new feature, but I haven't really. I just kind of wanted to keep this in Cinema so I could just add more and have them interact with
but
each
that's
other
nice.
later.
You stay within the Vellum solver. You don't need to get like multi-solvers.
Yeah,
going
exactly.
Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll crack that open in a minute too. But should we kind of? I can take a look at some of the mocap I
Ooh,
recorded today.
yeah, and I don't know, Nick, if it's possible for you to turn up your audio at all.
Oh yeah, sure.
We just got someone in the chat.
Is
that's
is that better now?
AV Tone,
Yep.
good to see you.
Okay.
Yeah, let us know if that works. Alberto?
Cool. Thanks for letting us know here. So I have like, because my loop is like, I don't know, 700 and something frames. I think I made it so that my beats were all 20 frames. So my whole composition, because I'm going to do the music for this as well. So I kind of always reverse engineer from my frame rate and my beats per minute, because every time I use Signal a lot in Cinema4D, which is like, you know, allows you to use sine waves and stuff to animate people. So I'll take like the lower body of a Rokoko mocap, and then the upper body, and I'll like jiggle it with a sine wave or something like that. So you get some natural footing and waist movement, and then like bob somebody's head with a, you know, constant thing right to the BPM. So I always try and have like even frame numbers for loops. So this one's like 20 frames, which ends up being 150 beats per minute. So then I go in Rokoko and I record all of my mocap while listening to a click track of 150 beats a minute. So everything kind of syncs up wherever I put it in the scene.
While you're recording your mocap, you listen to make sure you're.
Or if I have the music done already, I'll listen to the music. But I don't have that yet, which I don't even know what I'm going to do yet for music. So.
Like
a little bit, yeah. I started out on YouTube, kind of making like video remixes where I would, you know, take samples of infomercials and make like stupid videos with them and stuff. That's kind of my early beginnings.
Please, everyone, go do a deep dive on Smearballs' YouTube channel. I haven't gone all the way to the beginning, but I'm sure there's some interesting things.
I'm like, I feel like I should have
No, you got to
some
keep
of
that
those
stuff.
early
It's like
ones.
12 years ago, and it's clearly 360p or whatever.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Here's like just some hammering, so I can have somebody hammering something. What else did I do? I've got some air guitar, so I figured I'd have like somebody doing like air guitar with some tools, like a sawzall or something, or a level. That's my amazing dance moves here. I think he starts doing air guitar in a minute.
You learn about recording mocap.
There we go.
You're like, oh wait, I have to start dancing now.
Yeah, I know.
This looks good. This looks great.
Not my forte, but it's kind of
emotional, passionate. Yeah,
he's rocking out. I'm feeling it. Even though it was only a click track, I was feeling the music there. So, and then I thought it would be funny to have a guy holding a nail gun and putting nails in his forehead.
Yeah.
Because why wouldn't you? It's a bit hard to line up the hand to the head, but you can fix that in iClone, which I can show as well.
That would be super interesting to look at because, you know, fixing mocap. There's always, with inertial mocap, with Rokoko, there's always fixes you need to have, right?
It's pretty funny. Just boom. So, yeah, I don't know. I'll just take maybe this air guitar or something.
And everyone, Nick might be willing to give these out, so we might make all of these available if he's down.
Yeah, sure. I'll export them and make them all ready. And I get them all ready for iClone as well, so I can share those files if any iClone users are out there. Okay, so I have this guy. segmented already, which isn't super clear. This is a little criticism of the Rokoko software. It's hard to figure this out, but you have to
Yeah.
hold Shift and click on the timeline
Really
to get the
criticism.
segment. That's like, I almost wish there was, I almost wish there was some kind of like obvious marker, like if you just move these and that did it, or a secondary one that
What's
was easier
confusing
to
is
see.
you
But
always
anyway,
think those ones at the end are the ins and out points, and then you export it and you're like, this isn't right. And
yeah.
yeah, that's fine.
So I'm going to export this one. I think these are the default settings. My project's at 60 FPS, so I'm just going to do that. And I'll put it where I did earlier. So I use the 3D Exchange
Right.
pipeline to go into iClone, and I just reuse my character from before in Character Creator. But Character Creator is pretty amazing software, and I use it for just about everything. It's got a pretty good rig with facial expressions. When you export these rigs, you get like 60 different facial pose morphs that you can mess with in Cinema or whatever. And the rigs are pretty nice. And you can buy these packs of like super nice skin textures, like this old guy. The only thing it's kind of lacking is clothing and stuff, but
That
it's
was
like
gonna be my
it's
question
pretty
is,
decent.
I mean, I have bought a couple things because they have a whole store, but it's never.
Yeah, the store's not super robust, but like, and even just like I always redo the textures because like these pant textures are like even the scale of
Right, it's too
the
big.
denim isn't right. You know, it's
Yeah.
like double or triple what it should be, and like I don't know, there's certain things. So I always end up going in Photoshop and redoing the textures on these clothes, and honestly, that's
Yeah.
kind of a way to make it your own. Like everybody, I always feel the burnout from using stock assets in general, where it's like, oh yeah, that's like T-shirt number 4 on whatever collection. Like it's kind of good to make things your own by
It's funny
altering
how,
them,
I
and
mean,
it's cool.
I love Mixamo, but it's if you do CG for like 2 years, you start to like in
Oh yeah, Northern
exactly,
Soul
yeah.
Spin number 4.
I don't know if you watch
You know that
Severance,
one?
but
Like
that
yeah,
new
it's funny.
show, but it's like an Apple extra weg
I
on
haven't seen it
Insta.
yet.
He did the
Yeah,
intro.
he
And
did the intro for
there's I'm
that.
like, my wife
So
is like,
good.
shut up, I'm trying to watch this cool intro. I'm like, that's the Mixamo animation, like I recognize that. And yeah, which is
Oh,
hilarious
is it? Yeah,
because
yeah.
it's like, I don't know, you just get to know them and so well. Yeah, anyway.
Oh, totally. Um, but anyway, so this guy, you basically you create a character, and the other cool thing about if you haven't used Character Creator 3, it's just got sliders for absolutely everything. Like you can go deep, like like head
Yeah.
scale. Oh, is it gonna
If
crash
it
on me here?
crashes, that's a good thing because that means Houdini
Okay.
won't crash later, or there won't be an electrical fire or something. Yeah,
Oh, there we go. Yeah, like eye scale. Oh, that's not a good one to really show. But like forehead height, and the crazy thing is, you can take these things and like, or like head
yeah.
morph, so you can morph them into other people. I guess I'll zoom in more so you can see. But yeah, it comes with all these morphs that you can do funny things to, and you can crank them like above 100%. But yeah, it's like it's really robust, and you can really make unique characters with it.
Yeah.
And it's got this headshot thing where you can upload your own face photo just from a frontal face photo. It makes a pretty good model. Like I did this loop with Eric Andre
Oh yeah.
in a subway car, and it's like 20
Bulky Eric
versions of him in
Andre,
this
like
subway.
Child Eric, right? It was like a million.
Yeah, I can pull it up on here. It's probably faster to
Yeah,
go to my Instagram and find it on my
creators.
hard
It's
drive
like,
web.
again, as you were
Um,
saying earlier, it's like it's so great, and then there's some things that you got to redo the textures or whatever, and yeah, it's never perfect.
Oh yeah. So this is all from Character Creator from a single photo, or I had side photos as well of Eric to get his profile nailed down. But it does a really good job of like making the likeness. But it's a bit hit and miss. Like some people I've done, and it's like
It
works right
depends on
away, and
the
other people
input.
it's like that did not
I've
work
done it
at
for
all.
like celebrities a couple times, and there's
Yeah.
some weird. He's like a portrait photographer guy, and he takes really flat photos of like celebrities. So he's always a good
Okay.
one. I forget what his name is, but you can find it. Search front portrait or whatever.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I just went File, Export, Send to iClone. So you go send your character from Character Creator to iClone.
Yeah, and with the new characters, they added the ability to have ARKit stuff now, so you can do the ARKit, thing, and
Oh,
you can
cool.
actually get it working in Cinema from Rokoko Studio, too, using the plugin.
Okay. Oh. So now I'm going to find my animation that I exported from Rokoko. You have to use this 3D exchange thing to get
Now we go into the world of
iClone.
Reallusion softwares, the maze.
I have a little bit of a hack I might have to do for this. It's kind of a problem I've been having. Maybe you'll have some input, but let's see if it happens here. So there's my air guitar guy. 60 samples per second. Is that the same as frames per second? Is that what it means? Yeah. Cool. So it brings in just the joints, and then we have to convert it into a non-standard. So it's just the actual kind of hierarchy of the joints, and we exported from, I think the only version that works out of Rokoko is the Maya IK hierarchy. And you activate the T-pose and say convert. And now it's converted. So I just want to check it out because I've been having this problem forever, and I just found out how to fix it today. Can I move this? Yeah, there we go. Okay, so there's my mocap, and it's all working well, and it always does about 3/4 to 80% of the way through.
You're having an observer.
And then I get, check this out.
Oh.
The leg goes whack right there. I don't know why this happens. So I've tried using different versions of XBX out of Rokoko, all this stuff, but one fix for it that I found out today is you take the FBX, just bring it into Cinema, and save it out as an FBX again, and then the problem goes away.
I've had
similar
problems sometimes with like Unreal. Depending on what program I export out from, it will give me like a different. I'll just bring something into Cinema and export it, and then Unreal will work with it. That's an interesting fix. Someone was just having this problem on the Discord. I saw that they were importing their skeletons, and they were getting weird glitches like that.
Yeah, I've been kind of. It only happens on longer clips, like more than 800 frames or something like that. And but this seems to fix the problem, so I just do that now. I don't know, unless there's a better fix somewhere. I would love to know, but it's like whatever, little quick step to fix it.
Okay, this works. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That's the way. So convert to non-standard again. Go to my human IK. And I got to give a shout out to Jonathan Winbush for the tutorial on how to do this, by the way.
He's the best.
Because I learned it from him.
He's like one of the saints of the C4D world, certainly. It's like him and iDesign and Dave. And
yeah, he's a big help. Oh, for sure. So now I think it should be all rocking. Just like to check it here before I.
So you're retargeting
and yep,
an icon
all good
from this mocap, like data, right? Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm. And now I am ready to go to what is it? Apply to iClone. Oh, but you have to step 2. You have to make sure your character is selected in iClone, or it won't work. Now, they're one of those steps you can bang your head against the wall for a day before you figure it out.
The worst thing being when it works and you don't know why it worked, and then you can't reproduce it.
Yeah, totally. I'm just going to make more frames in my project here.
Okay, I've never done this. Whenever I work in iClone, I always do live streaming. So I've never. It's so interesting that you apply.
Oh yeah. See, I cheaped out and I didn't buy the plugin for doing it live streaming here. But honestly, this is not. It's kind of fine to do it this way. Bring it in. It works. So here we go. So you notice he's kind of got a bigger belly than me. So his hand goes like intersects a little bit. Yeah. So we want to fix that. But he's generally doing a pretty good rock job there. So I like I think you go in here, go to edit motion layer, and this is amazing because it kind of does an override similar to how, I don't know if you've ever used a Mixamo control rig in Cinema4D. It makes a similar kind of thing. Yeah, where you get this like IK override over the bones that you can fix. So kind of like it keyframes them automatically here. So we look at the hand, it's going into the belly. You just move it
on frame
out
1
until we're kind of
So
clear.
it's for the entire,
This is especially
thing.
yeah, just on frame 1. And then move this guy out just preventatively. And then just move it along. And we're still doing pretty good. You know, and you just kind of go through and fix stuff. And you can also add like some additional animation this way. If I wanted to do another footstep, you can animate the foot going up and stomping.
Or something.
Oh yeah, we could. Yeah, we could. You know, rotate his. Oh, I think. What do you do?
Oh, maybe sometimes they don't let you rotate. Like, button? And it's like if you move it, it will rotate it.
Oh yeah, I guess maybe this is. Yeah, I guess it's just position. Yeah. I figured you could also rotate, but yeah, look. But anyway, yeah, so you can basically at least fix position on here. And, you know, you could even, if you're a person who has the Rokoko suit but not the smart gloves, there's a great way to add hand gestures in here, because you can just go and search, you know, hand stuff. And it comes with all these hand gestures.
Wow.
Yeah. So you click on any of these, and all of a sudden if you're like, I want his hands to be open now, you just click on that, hands are open. So then, boom, they'll go open, and then you can like, so a lot of times, even if I get like messy hand data from Rokoko and I don't want to go through and fix individual fingers, I'll just like animate a bunch of these so that you get open hands, closed hands, and you know, and you get some realistic motion that animate between the two, and you can go in and change the time of how long it takes to, you know, change over. There's all sliders in here, I believe, somewhere, gestures, and you can, you can like elongate those and whatnot. So yeah, so that's pretty, you know, cool way to do it if you know, just bought the suit and not the gloves.
Point for,
yeah, totally. So yeah, I can. So that's what I would kind of normally do to fix all my mocap and bring it into Cinema. So yeah, that's what I did with these guys before I went into Houdini as well. So a lot of that, you know, floppy stuff is in Houdini, like these guys falling. Yeah, that's vellum. So what I like to do a lot, like in the back to this, where did I put it here? Also, I should say, if anybody has questions out there, feel free to ask while we're done here. I don't mind. So this guy I did, this was my first test when I first got my suit. And so the actual, his ear and his nose are both kind of like soft body, but the rest of it is locked into the you know, FBX, the weighting.
This is this amazing Chris Rutledge method, right, that you were showing me in,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, so if anybody wants to learn how to do this stuff, like check out Chris Rutledge's YouTube, because it's super.
Sure,
great.
yeah.
You want to pull that up on your end?
Link to the tutorial in the chat.
Yeah.
The thing I love
do that
about
for sure, because it's super
too is
awesome.
that it's like
so
it's kind of on my level. Like it's like for dumb people. No.
Yeah, it's not super complicated. If you're a Houdini beginner or even never used it at all before, it's something you could potentially follow.
It shows you what
you know?
You need to know, and it's in a very clear way. And you could be hopping into Houdini for the first time ever, and I think, and like have a pretty good understanding of the process, which is how I work. I just learn what I need to know, and then I don't learn anything else. I don't know why it works.
Yeah, and then don't learn anything else. I'm like with Houdini especially, it's like, it's cool that you can at least save your old project files and swap things out and make them work, but it's definitely a learning curve. Like I'm in it for about a year and a half now, and I still feel like a beginner.
Do you think Trump has ever seen one of your
so this was...
Maybe
he's doubt
on the Twitter
it.
A lot,
I don't
so
know.
maybe
Who knows?
He's been shared at one point, and then he gets tagged, and then he could have.
It's
I'm sure he would love it. Well, he probably would. Anything with him in it. Yeah.
Oh, I'm sure he just likes the attention. But the general workflow, yeah, I hope he has, but I don't think so. But the general workflow I have for this jumping from Cinema4D, because I still do all my character work and rendering in Cinema4D, everything ends up here to render out of Octane. So I'd take my FBX out of
Right. So
here
you
and
go and you
export
do
an
like you
Alembic
bring in
file.
your thing from Character
And
Creator, right, or from iClone. You put it in here. You bring it into Cinema.
yeah,
Do the timing
might as
that you
well.
might need, right? Because I imagine that makes it easier on the Houdini end if it's like the right timing, or he's dropping
Yeah,
from
if it's all
above,
locked
and so you
down.
position him maybe above, or maybe you do that in Houdini.
Yeah, I for this part when it's fully dynamic, I position it already. Yeah, pretty much I've positioned all the characters in the scene where they need to be before I go into
Right.
Houdini because I'm also bringing
Right.
in
Right.
my
Right. Right.
environment for them to collide with and obstacles to dodge and what have you. So yeah, so this guy I would do separate exports of the clothes to do the cloth simulation after, and then the body I would export in Alembic. But and the big key of dealing with
Yeah.
scale between Cinema and Houdini is there's a big trick I got stuck on for a while. So when you export an Alembic, you gotta make sure I believe it is set to
Yeah. Because
0.01
Houdini's in meters, I
centimeters,
think, or
so that it comes in as meters. Yeah, exactly. But that's not the case with like an OBJ. When you do an OBJ,
or
you
you
just
do
set
what
it to
I do,
meters,
which is I just don't
and it
set
works.
it,
But
and
if
then I
you
go through
if
a
you set that
transform node on there, do it, which is the messy, horrible way to do it. Um,
oh yeah, sure.
but yeah, no, no. So
I just like everything
that
to
is
come
my
in the way it's supposed to, so I know what's up. But anyway, that's a little trick you need to do just to get everything at proper world scales here. So basically, I brought in an Alembic, converted it to polys, and it's just this guy jumping
yeah.
straight up mocap from Character Creator, just the process we just showed you. And the cool trick here is, I think I just did a blast just to get rid of his eyelids because they were flopping around. But you got this attribute paint where you can paint on a weighting where
Yeah,
I
this
made
is
this
all in that
attribute. This is from the
tutorial, which
Chris
I
Rutledge
followed. It's
tutorial, by the
30
way. You have
minutes
a link
long,
for
and
it.
you can follow along. And in 30 minutes, you have like you bring in Mixmo acid in, and it's very easy.
It's
Yeah.
super. It's super cool. So the uh, painting that I'm doing here is like if I paint it'll go red, if I press control it'll go purple, and anything that's purple is going to be very loose and wobbly, and everything red is going to be super stiff, and you can smooth it out by pressing shift whatever. So you create this
Right.
attribute here, and the attribute name stretch stiffness, and then we have a vellum cloth which just basically turns the whole mesh into cloth. I used a vellum
The
struts here, which is kind of a like
right.
the bounciness, the forces between all of the polys that like push on each
Yeah.
other. So I think if I went inside here, you see all of them, like that's all like calculations it's doing. And then I have another constraint, which is a, a what do you call it? A pin to target. So anything that it's using the stretch stiffness attribute. So anything that we made red in here is going to be locked into the original, mocap animation. Anything purple is going to be flopped out.
Right.
So
And so will you,
let me
like, I
zoom
see
out
some
here.
of your
And
characters have, like, floppy bellies or breasts or something, and that's just a matter of, like less, because it's not, you can, it's not 0 or 1, right? There's, like, you can do 50%, right, for that painting. Right, right, right.
oh yeah, you can paint it in however you like. And also with something like bellies and breasts and stuff, I will do like I'll go into Cinema and make a proxy geometry. Like I'll put a torus inside the body, or you could even make a skinnier person doing the same motion in iClone and Character Creator, and then use that as a proxy geometry for the pin to target. Or not, it wouldn't be a pin to target, I guess. You would use a different node that does like a distance. You could create your stretch stiffness attribute from how
Oh,
far away the
interesting.
fat body is to the skinny body. So anything that's further away becomes more floppy, and then you get like
Right.
realistic jiggle
It's
where
not
the
like as
body's
crazy as
still
these awesome
kind
arms,
of controlling it. You know
but
what I
it's like
mean?
that more, right, just like my cheeks are jiggling or
Yeah.
something, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's the cool thing about Houdini. There's a whole bunch of ways to generate these attributes and use them. So now we got super floppy arms. So now, like, if I make a different attribute paint and like here,
Mm.
oh, here I've got like his whole upper body is all floppy now, and maybe we could just leave
Ooh, okay, you gotta tell me.
his
I couldn't
hands
figure this out. What
intact
is
for
the
whatever reason.
hotkey for switching the weight painting? Of course, I was using.
Oh, just control. Yeah,
Oh,
and shift is blend. So let's give that one a try now. And now the whole upper body, except for the hands, should kind of. Oh, whoops! No, it's still doing the old one because I didn't plug it in. There, so I plugged in the new paint.
yeah.
And that's what I love about Houdini is all the like everything's non-destructive. I still have
And
the
you could
old one.
also
You can
set it up
still
where you
move
just
all the
you could
nodes
even
around.
export out. Like you set up 50 of these. Like do a random, you know, like step random noise thing, and
Oh
just set up
yeah,
50
totally.
renders overnight, and then you come out like in the morning, and you're like, okay, let's look at which one I like the most. Number 45.
Sure, yeah. Well, what I've been doing, I'll like do a simulation like this and let it go long, like do 1,000 frames of it, and then bring them all into Cinema, and then just
Right.
offset
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
them. So they're all running off the same Olympic file, and you've got like 20
Right.
characters all doing the same thing, slightly different, and stagger them. So
Right.
you can get a whole crowd out of
Yeah,
and
and
then
then it's fine.
retexture them differently and whatever else. So you can do tons of cool stuff. So I'll let this go just till like 60 frames or something we can see. But yeah, you can see his whole head is stretching out, and there's so many attributes you can play with. You can mess with the cloth stiffness, how
Right.
easily the polygons bend with one another. You can mess with the strut.
Oh,
You can mess with the gravity so
that's
that it
clever
like goes
too.
zero
Is the
gravity and it flops
gravity.
around a little
Yeah.
more.
Because
Yeah. That's a really important one with this stuff because yeah, I think I have mine set a little stiff here, but yeah, you can see he's
I
like
mean, it's so cool. Again, like it blew my mind when I was watching that tutorial because this is an effect I think that a lot of like I want to use, and it's so intimidating, and it's really not. It was so easy to do. We just followed the tutorial straight up. I think there
Oh
was a
yeah.
couple things. There's like a few things that I
Like I
don't know
think I
what
can
version
set
of
this.
Houdini you're in, but that tutorial is I think in Houdini 17, and now it's 18.5. And so there was like one thing I found in the comments that helped
Oh yeah, this is
with
a
that, but it was basically it was plug and play.
yeah, totally. Yeah, now I just loosened up all of those. Here, I'm just gonna
And I love
actually
that.
get rid
I
of the
mean,
hand so
what
it goes full
and it was interesting to
pop
realize
here.
that it's like the whole body is Houdini is a soft body. It's just that the stiffness is so high on those parts that aren't being affected that it seems
Yeah,
like it's not, but it is, which is interesting. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's really cool. So if you keep the head stiff and the the body different, you can still go back into Cinema 4D, use the same bone structure to parent a hat or something on it while the arms and legs do some weird
Right.
things. So it's kind of like I use like the Houdini workflow kind of fluidly like that, where sometimes you might want to keep some of the character in Cinema to be able to mess with it, and sometimes I do it all in Houdini, so it's kind
Yeah,
of a
that's so awesome.
real back and forth. Um, but yeah, so then I would bake this out, bring it back in, and then attach the clothes and do a cloth simulation on the pants or whatever, So it's kind of a multi-layer
And I mean,
workflow here.
that's
Yeah,
great.
now he's
And so
really
for the cloth, for the clothes,
bouncing
you're getting the
around.
clothes directly from iClone. You're just using those
Mhm.
clothes.
Yeah, a lot of them. Sometimes I make them. I've used Marvelous a few
It
times,
probably
but yeah,
depends
I bought some
on the
packs as
garment, right?
well.
Like a
Like I
t-shirt, it's
think
gonna
this.
be easier, or like a tank top,
Yeah,
shorts.
exactly. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think I bought some like I don't know where they are now. Where do you go? What did I search for items? I don't know, but I bought some good cloth packs off the store there, and there's some decent things
Navigating
in
the
general.
smart
Oh, that's
browser.
because I'm in iClone. That's why, not Character Creator. Yeah, yeah. But there's one thing in this I gotta say that is a must-have, and it's this realistic human skin pack, because you get these like insane, or what, I have to go on, it's really annoying, this whole thing. What do you go to? Skin? Yeah, in here. No, not skin. Actors. Yeah, so you get these like crazy normal effects where you can add wrinkles and stuff to people, and it's actually really robust. And you can, there's like tattoos and zits and
the stuff that sells
wrinkles and sunburns and all kinds of weird. Yeah, the stuff that kind of adds, and you can customize it, and like even like these acquired tattoos, like you can swap out your own PNG to these tattoos and put it on the body without having, like, because in Photoshop you're always dealing with that messed up UV, so it's all stretched weird. This actually projects it properly, and you can put on images onto your characters and your own stuff kind of better than Photoshop in a lot of ways. So
that's a good hack.
Yeah, it's pretty handy too. So yeah, that's kind of the general Houdini Cinema re-illusion workflow that I got going on. But I've also like he's really fighting against himself there. But I've also started messing around downstairs. I've got this like video wall that I installed to do some like experimental stuff. And I love it for doing mocap down there, because you've got like the biggest problem. I'm always doing mocap so close to my screen because you want to see what's going on, and to be able to kind of move around the room and get there's the hot backside there. But to be able to kind of roam a little more freely and still keep an eye on what's going on the huge screen is pretty awesome. And I just think it'll be fun for doing some streams and doing some in-character stuff,
I love
straight out of it.
Rokoko plugin for cinema. It actually works really well, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, it works great. It was like first try. I kind of got it rocking with the Rokoko Newton character. I think, let me pull it. I don't know if I got it all hooked up right now without doing some magic. But there's like a Rokoko Newton base skeleton you can use. And I found I was able to bring in a normal re-illusion character from Character Creator. Like this guy, and then no, I don't have it installed on this machine. But you can basically parent all of the joints and do retargeting from one of these characters. Take the hips and drag them into the Rokoko tag one by one, and you can get it working live with one of these characters without buying a re-illusion plugin.
Yeah, absolutely right.
So
$100 or something probably. Yeah.
Which is pretty huge. Yeah, or a few. I think it's a bit more than that. But yeah, it's good to as much as I don't really care to do it live in iClone, because I can still bring this FBX into iClone. I can still everything's still kind of exchangeable. So it's just kind of nice to do it live in Cinema4D in the viewport with your scene and all your objects and props.
Context sometimes.
Pretty cool. Mm-hmm. So so that's my plan, is just to go and take all the mocap I did this morning, and I think I can get 5 or 6 characters out of that over the weekend and plunk them into my scene, and then I'll be at like 8 or 9, and then I got a couple more weeks to try and double that. So that's my jam. Oh yeah, go to town on
there's
the
a couple
dirt
questions
and the grime and whatever else.
Get into. I think one person. Atelier
for
on was asking just how you generated your idea for it, which for the loop, when you're and I would hazard a guess that it was more about like the format of the loop as opposed to all the specific stuff. I don't
Construction
know how to,
stuff. Well, I guess the format is I don't know. I was gonna do another like circular one, like I did with that party scene I showed earlier.
Been there.
And I'm like, that's kind of like I did that already a couple times, and then I thought, exactly. And then I've done a couple of side-scrolling ones too, kind of on an angle, like 45 degrees or whatever, like of a shopping people pushing shopping carts through a shopping zone. But I thought it'd just be kind of cool to change the camera angle and go like straight on, perpendicular, and do a side scroll. And but I did run into some problems with that, because it's just you get this like frame jitter depending on your frame rate. So I'm having to actually kind of do 60 frames a second, which looks
Yeah.
kind of cool anyway. It's going to kill me on the render, but it's so I'm going 60 FPS just to get it a bit smoother, given my distance and everything
Yeah.
like that,
Yeah.
so you
Yeah.
don't have that jittery problem. But yeah, so I just wanted to do a side scroll, so I decided to go with that. It was kind of a simple decision, and the reason I did construction is literally I ran a construction company for 10 years before I went full blown into 3D, and my buddies and I joked for years about making like a drywalling video game, like a simulator, where you just drywall and drink alcohol, and because we met a lot of really weird drywaller people over the years, and it was always a joke. So I kind of thought of this game called Wall Borders 3, which is like three guys who do drywall, and it's like a Minecraft open
Wait, is
game
this
where
a
you just
real
have to
game that
drywall
exists now, or
everything
is
in the
this
entire
on?
world. Like, well, my plan is to kind of like this
Okay.
this
Yeah. Yeah.
Rokoko challenge is like
Yeah.
got me to make the assets I need, and then I'm going to make a fake video game trailer of Wall Borders 3 in the hopes that somebody wants to make it with me,
Yeah.
because my
Well, but
Unreal
I'm sure
skills
that you
are
can
not
find
where they
someone
need to be
interested
to
who'd
make
be
something like
so
that.
super psyched to do it, and then you can, yeah. It's also like,
Yeah, sure.
well, a joke, but it sounds
It's a
fun.
bit of a joke,
I
though.
don't know, like, I'm imagining the
Especially if you've been drywalling all day and you want to
drywalling,
wind down
Yeah.
after
Yeah.
and do some
Getting your
drywalling
booze
in the
meter up.
metaverse.
Yeah. Get your drywalling power ups.
Yeah.
The other thing that's I imagine nice is like it's I when I'm making scenes, often it's driven a lot by what I have on hand. It's like, what materials do I have? What asset packs do I have, or whatever? And so wood and like metal and
Totally.
those are all. It's not like sometimes you just get so ambitious in the conception of your idea, and then you're like, I don't have like volcanic rock, like with it's like yeah.
Yeah. Luckily, with like Quixel
Yeah,
and stuff, like doing nature stuff is super
Yeah.
easy now for the most part. It's pretty amazing. But I'm finding I'm kind of making all the assets for this, except for like power tools and ladders and
are
stuff.
you
But all
ma-
the
are you
like
making
building
the actual
material stuff I'm
materials,
making
like
from
the
scratch,
textures too?
and
Oh wow! So you take a photo of
yeah, like the
plywood
plywood
and then,
texture I made with the
convert it
screw
to
holes in
normal.
it. Yeah.
Right.
And I downloaded some plywood stuff, but then I added all the screws and put a displacement for the screws to be recessed and some metallic
awesome.
thing to make the metal shine on the screw heads, and same with the drywall. Yeah, just those little details I think count. Like it
Yeah,
adds a
and
bit
it's
of
you learn. I don't know.
extra
it's good,
magic
'cause then
to
you can
it.
make things more specific to your stuff or whatever.
And I find I throw these in my library and I end up reusing them and adding more
right.
to
Yeah, and just know
to the
more
arsenal.
about it next time. So another one was asking about NFTs, and because I think just about the Beeple stuff that you just were doing, or did you did something with Beeple and Madonna? Was
Oh
Madonna
God,
in
it
your
was
house?
honestly, yeah, we did this Madonna thing.
Okay.
And it's like
It looked like it was the
no,
video wall
thankfully not.
from your
Just
basement.
kidding. Oh yeah, no, yeah, she danced in front of my my video, but yeah, it was Mike's concept. I was just a button pusher for that one, to tell you the truth. I just kind of helped out, and it was a little bit of like. There was like 5 times I thought the job wasn't even happening because it was like we wouldn't hear from her for a month, and I'm like, what is this? What are we doing here? But it's like finally it actually got released. I don't know if it's a good thing. It was a little bit nasty, but it's whatever. It's
I haven't
Madonna.
dove into it enough yet. I've just seen a couple. Yeah.
Yeah, you might not want to go look it up actually.
Yeah, I mean,
Especially
for sure.
if there's
I mean,
children
that goes
around,
without,
or
that goes without saying.
But yeah, but Mike's a
cool.
buddy of mine. He actually hooked me up with you guys at first to introduce me to you for
Close-ish,
the original
geographically, a
Rokoko
little
suit
bit. He's up in Michigan
stuff.
or
But
something,
yeah,
I think. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I think he moved down to South Carolina. But but yeah, I kind of met him on the MoGraph speaking circuit, doing different events and NAB down in Vegas and stuff like that. So we kind of became
he's a
fast
fun
friends,
guy.
and it was cool to
A
collaborate
lot of
with him.
swearing. Do you have any tips for making complex loops?
I guess the big thing is, yeah, because
get
even
the-
with mocap especially, it's hard. I work around a lot. like with the rotating scene or scrolling
Reset
scenes, it's
them,
like
right,
get them
yeah,
out of the
exactly.
scene
Get
so
them
that
out
I
of
can
frame.
loop this thing, you know, because otherwise it's like, yeah, because nothing's perfect in a mocap loop. But a lot of the time, I will take, if something has to stay in the scene and I have to make that work out, like literally, I'll try and get it as close as I can to the beginning and the end. But you can do a cool trick in
Is this
Cinema
the
where you
instance thing?
create a motion. What is it again? Let me see. Animate, create. What is it? It's nothing's in the same spot anymore as R24. But you make a
Oh,
motion
right.
clip.
Yeah, yeah. And
That's
then you
what
just
it
hit
is.
loop. Yeah,
So
yeah.
you can
Add
make a motion
clip.
clip of
Right.
your
Oh,
not loop, but you can take the beginning and end of yours and butt them together with a blend. So it'll actually take your last a few frames of your animation and loop it. So it can be janky, but I do that, and then sometimes I will just bake out an animation beginning to end, take all the end keyframes,
right.
copy them to the end, and leave a blank slate for things like the hips, the whatever, and then even do a keyframe reduction so that you have less keyframes to work with, and in the last
Yeah, until
10,
it
and then
seems
just
to be
mess with the
looping and then
curves
it's
until
back.
you get it
You only
natural
need to
and
do
you get
it
it
right that one section because then you're just looping the video itself, right? Yeah. Right.
exactly. Yeah. So those are a couple tricks, and you can do that stuff in iClone as
There's
well with
also
the
a
blending
looping
of two
function in
motion
Rokoko
clip
Studio.
things.
I don't know if you knew that. Yeah, if you want to
Oh,
hop
really? Does it do
back
blending?
into it, I can show it to you. So
What?
it doesn't work very.
Sure.
There's a glitch with when you're using gloves, which now everyone's using gloves, so it's a little bit of a bummer. But if you
Okay.
just go, if you hit Shift and you made that segment right, and there's those little three dots at the right where your mouse is,
Yeah.
basically, and you make it loopable.
Okay.
And then I also check those three
Loopable.
check boxes
Oh,
below. I
cool.
can't really read it on your screen, but yeah, yeah.
Start
So you
from
can make like walk
origin,
cycles and
align
stuff,
motion
and
to
it will
axis,
align
and
it. And
close
then
loop.
that's the transition amount. That 0.4 is
Yeah.
0.4 of a second, I think. Yeah, and then it
Cool. So you can
should.
adjust that.
I mean,
Cool.
it will blend between the end and. Oh, you might have to hit
Oh,
repeat or whatever
cool.
on the playback, maybe.
On here. Cool. Cool. So what's the
So
problem with the
actually,
hands?
it
The
looks
hands
like
just don't
it's
do it, or?
working. Oh, you got to hit process changes. It'll mess with the hands, but the hands will basically kink out to the wrong spot,
Oh.
which is something that you could fix using iClone. The way that So the hands.
Oh yeah,
and
there.
it rotates it weird or whatever. But like
Cool.
ideally for one of those, the last and first frame you're choosing, like for a walk cycle, right? Is like it's like the you just choose a point where it's closest, the first and the second frame, right? Yeah.
Yeah, cool. That seemed like it. It seemed like it at least mostly did the trick, where you could go in, and you could also, if you want to retain your hand stuff,
Exactly.
just
Yeah,
export
yeah.
one
Or
before and after you
the
loop
hand,
it, and
the
then
keyframes are still there.
copy
They're
the
just,
hand keyframe.
I don't know why it does that, but it kinks the hands. So if you make a global change to the hands, it should still be looping, right? Because it doesn't matter.
Oh,
So
it'll
you
go
just-
back. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, the finger animation.
The finger
is still
animation's
there. It's just
still
that
happening.
they kink out weirdly. I don't know why it does that.
Yeah. That's cool though. Is that kind of stuff that's being worked on in the beta too?
I would.
I still haven't downloaded the new
Actually, I think we're.
studio.
I mean, I hesitate to say for sure, but we should have a big update coming in June with a bunch of new features. And I mean, the goal for beta eventually is like to do all that. To retarget your character in there, and then like be able to do all the editing in there. And it's just first we got to make sure it's stable. You know?
That'd be amazing. Yeah, so
No.
is that already active in
It's
beta, like
active in the
fixing
dev
hand
versions,
overlap
but,
and
not
moving
the
stuff around? Oh, no.
release versions because it's just too many problems.
Cool.
Well,
That's good to know, because I mean, cutting out some of these, like, because a lot of time I'm just going into iClone just to do that part of it.
I have Maya as a part of my workflow only for retargeting, and if I could cut that out and just go directly from Studio into Cinema, then that would be great. And I think a lot of people in general, it's still such a niche. I don't know if you run into this, but I always run. I'll meet people who are like super. It's just retargeting and mocap is like not something that a lot of people do in the this field of the new kind of era of this field where
Sure.
people have taught themselves everything and are kind of scrappier and more jury rigged, and mocap is just a very
Yeah, yeah.
specific thing that most people don't interact with. So like if we could dumb it down in studio, that would be great for everyone, I think.
Yeah, yeah. I guess the biggest problem is just that there's so many different
Yeah.
like hierarchies,
Yeah, but
phone
we have there's like
hierarchies
an
that are,
auto read,
you know,
so it reads it,
big.
and then you can drag it and save a preset. So you'd have like your character,
Mhm.
like for the big ones like Character Creator and Daz and
Oh
like
yeah, that's cool.
Mixamo, there would be a preset,
Yeah,
is the idea. But anyway, it's walk before you can run with
yeah,
that.
yeah. Cool. Yeah,
Yeah,
totally. Well,
yeah.
it's cool to see you guys are moving that way. That's awesome.
Okay, so last question was just about. So have you making tour visuals and advice for making tour visuals? Um,
Yeah, I did a bunch of tour visuals for Dead Mouse and some for Flying Lotus, and yeah, he uses them all the time still.
really?
Like some of it has been in rotation for like 10 years. I'm going to show on tomorrow night actually in Toronto. He's
That's
doing a show,
awesome.
and I made some
Is
new
there
tour
anything
visuals for his
particular
set
that
there.
goes into that?
Um,
Like it's because it's a massive scale. Do you have to like render in
Big
12K?
thing, like yeah, well, he has like
Ugh.
yeah, some of it's pretty high res renders and high frame rates, and he also has a crazy video cube that we made tons of content for that was like meant for projection mapping, and it's on a motor so it rotates. So we had to do like animation compensation for when it rotates and do all this weird like crazy stuff. So that was a bit of a like unusual tour visual job, but in general. I guess it comes down to like whether you're doing it just for general music or if you're doing things at certain BPMs. But again, I use Grayscale Gorilla wearing a shirt
Right.
signal for everything because it's got a BPM feature. So you can take your song and be like plug in 120 BPMs and then like make things pulse at certain rates and bring in waveforms to mess with it. So it's really cool to do stuff musically with that, and you can also use the audio effector in Cinema4D and stuff like that. But like having stuff really locked to the beat, where the VJ can jump into Resolume and like, sync it up with the artist that's playing or whatever. If that's more for electronic music than something you're gonna match perfectly with
Right.
a rock band or something like that. But it's kind of cool to make stuff for specific. Timings and songs and have it animate to the beat
Right.
strongly and
Something
have that
specific
connection
is
between
happening
your
in the
visual
song,
and the
then
music,
a explosion,
But
whatever it's talking about. Yeah.
yeah, sure. Yeah, but that's also with music videos too. Whenever you're making something with music, you want that strong link. But in general, I don't know. I just like people actually got really huge from giving away all of his cool VJ loops back in the day. Like that was his like everyone was using those because he could use them on stage, and they were just these things that worked with everything that looked cool no matter what. Where you're
Right.
traveling through these tunnels and stuff like that is really popular. But yeah, I mean, visuals can be anything, so it's kind of like there's no rules.
Yeah, just
You
go
can
for
kind
it.
of do
I
whatever
feel like
looks
that's
cool.
yeah, just
But
get crazy.
But that's why I built this video wall here because I'm getting into like a Resolume and Touch Designer and triggering video with MIDI controllers. So I'm kind of like now I'm building like scenes like this construction scene where there's a ton of stuff locked down where you push triggers and it'll trigger little animations all over it and stuff like that. So if you're making tour visuals for someone who's proficient in Resolume and or Touch Designer and does that stuff, you can kind of break it down into like here's my background
They
and
can
then
be
here are all these
triggered
sprites on
live.
top of it,
Right.
like a game
That's so
that
cool.
are triggerable. Yeah, so that's super fun and cool. So, and that can be, I'm going to do that with mocap too, where I've got all these different mocap animations that I kind of force back into
Right.
the T pose or common pose. And then you push these buttons and it'll go like a robot kind of like launch these different pose morphs or whatever. So
How's
that's
that,
on the
how's
list
that
of
process
things I
been?
want
Are
to
you
mess
teaching
around with.
yourself? Like, are you I imagine it's a very you're finding information in forums and shit, and like I don't know, or is it pretty laid out?
Yeah, but Resolume is I have a buddy who's a VJ who's been he taught me in like one
Oh wow.
afternoon, and it's like honestly, Resolume is so easy. Like you just take your animation, your video, and you use their codec, the DXV codec or whatever, and you just export it from Premiere or whatever software you use, and
Oh,
you make
that's
all
so
these little clips, and
cool.
you drag and drop them onto buttons. Then you go to learn MIDI, and it like you can click on a button, push your MIDI controller, and that button will trigger that video. Like it's so easy. You just click on these buttons, click on your MIDI controller, you're done. It's mapped, and then you start playing your videos. But I'm also triggering audio with it, so then
Right.
I use Cubase, but you can use Ableton Live or whatever else. So you can then trigger the
Right. So
audio
you're like
and the
making
visuals at the
beats,
same
and then the
time, which I'm
visuals
having a
are
lot of fun
following
with.
along
So
with like all the hi hat is like yeah. Oh man,
at the
that's
same
awesome.
time, yeah, yeah. Totally. So that's kind of the goal, is to keep messing with that until I have, a streamable half hour or 45-minute set that I can
That's
do with
awesome.
all
Then
these different characters
are you
and
gonna like is
songs
the
and
goal
things
maybe
like
to
that.
like
So, but that's like,
tour or something like bring it like go
maybe
yeah
someday. Like right now, I first got to see if I can figure out how to make something long enough
yeah
and that works while I'm doing all my other jobs and stuff. It's kind of a hobby at this point, but yeah, I definitely
yeah
want to get
exactly. I mean
into
that's the nice
doing
thing is you can
streams
hop on a
first.
stream and do something that's super cool. Cool. Well, I mean
Yeah, yeah,
that's I think we can kind of
yeah.
close it down there. This was awesome, man. I don't know if there's any other advice or anything that you'd have that you'd want to say to people who are either, I mean, not even just getting into it, but who are, working in the field. And I don't know, you got any closing words of wisdom?
I don't know, just keep making stuff, like I don't know, I always find like doing like even this, even though the loop is for the Rokoko contest, there's no
Right.
rules other than looping, which I already do anyway. So I find this was a cool opportunity for me to do whatever I want again, and break some new ground and try some new things. So it's kind of like I can kind of look back in my career, and every single job I ever got was because somebody saw something I did for the hell of it, to mess around like this. So I kind of like, I cherish these times where I can do whatever I want, and this is one of those times. I'm just going to take like a month here and just make something
That's
for
dope. I
fun,
can,
and something always comes out
yeah,
of it.
I think
So
it's always good
I
to
encourage
participate
people
in
to
these
do the same.
contests because it's like it pushes you to finish something, which is tough for me. Finishing things. I have so many half-finished projects, but it's like there's a deadline, then finish it, and it kind of pushes you to make something that you're proud of
Hmm.
a little bit. Yeah. Um, cool. Okay. Well, I
Totally.
think we're gonna
Yeah.
sign off, everyone. Yeah. So Atelier, we are going to be making mocap tomorrow. I'm just gonna do another stream. We'll make some mocap, and we'll also maybe make some of the mocap that Nick made available to people for the loop. A question: are you going to SIGGRAPH this year? No plans yet.
Oh, I didn't have any plans yet. I'm the only.
Oh
Yeah,
shit.
I'm doing a talk in
Is that
Austria actually
FMX?
for another thing, which is kind of cool. But it's called. I should know this offhand, but I don't. Just D
D7.
something D
Well,
something. I
Rokoko
don't
will
know.
be at
I gotta
SIGGRAPH actually this
check it
year,
again.
so we'll be there.
Yeah, or no, it's not D7.
And
It's something.
and go
Cool.
to Austria if you want to see Nick speak. Uh, it's August 24th.
Well, maybe I don't know. When is it? When
Because
is it again?
no,
Oh,
I
that's
don't
the
know
same
when it is.
time I'm
Maybe
in
August
Austria. No,
7th. I don't know. It's in August
damn.
at some point. Yeah, cool. Okay, well, we're gonna
Okay,
cruise it, everyone.
cool.
Thank you so much for joining, and we'll have mocap uploaded tomorrow. And keep working on your perfect loop animation challenge. It's gonna be cool. We can't wait to see what everyone's making. And thank you again, Nick, for joining us. Okay, see you, everyone. Bye bye.
Hey, thanks for having me.